Welcome to Context. I'm Bakhtiar Sonov. In Washington, D.C., a landmark meeting between Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and U.S. President Donald Trump culminated in the signing of a joint declaration, a symbolic yet potentially transformative step toward lasting peace in the South Caucasus. Beyond the historical handshake, the talks have introduced a striking new concept, what some are calling the Trump route, a U.S.-endorsed transit link through the Zangezur corridor, connecting Azerbaijan's mainland to its Nakhchivan and on to Turkey. Supporters see it as a game-changer for trade and connectivity. Critics warn it could reshape the balance of power in the region in ways that may sideline certain actors. To discuss this, we are joined by Orkan Nabiev, political analyst joining us from Baku, Azerbaijan, and Nikola Mikovic, political analyst joining us from Belgrade, Serbia. Orkan and Nikola, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your invitation. It's our pleasure.
Orkan, let's start with you. What is your key takeaway from the Washington meeting and the signing of the joint declaration?
If we will summarize what happened on August 8th and the Washington meeting hosted by White House, by personal Donald Trump, the main key points are the territorial integrity and non-aggression is achieved. So from this day and go on, all the misunderstandings, disagreements will be discussed on a political diplomatic way, not through the war operations or through the weapon. It's a main achievement that Donald Trump, in the interview after this ceremony, answered to the journalists that we will be guaranteed of this. So economic investment and the United States will guarantee the peace and prosperity. How it's like the root name. The institutional dissolution, the ending the Minsk group, and this reflects the new reality that we have on the ground. So dissolution is a Minsk group, the second key point. As I told before, like Trump route for international peace and prosperity is a third main keystone key point, that economic investments and the personal guarantee of Trump will keep peace and the prosperity in the region. And this is a U.S. initiative, so it's sidelining the Russia from the region. Now the United States play the balancing role against Russia. So now we see that Russia totally sidelined from the region, and the two countries can discuss all the problems, all the future perspectives like one by one. So we don't need any mediator, but the guarantor as the United States.
Nikola, from your perspective, was this a concrete breakthrough toward peace, and how important is U.S. mediation in this context, given the past roles of Russia and the EU?
The deal is very important and very good for the United States. It's also pretty good for Azerbaijan because it allows Baku to establish direct land route between mainland Azerbaijan and its Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic. It's important for the United States because it allows Washington to increase its influence in the strategically important region. It is also important for Turkey because it allows Turkey to have a direct land route connecting Turkey and Central Asia through Armenia and Azerbaijan. But there are losers in this game, Russia and Iran. Mostly Iran, because it will be de facto semi-encircled, especially its northern regions, by Turkey and Azerbaijan, if it allows Armenia to build the route through its territory, and I think it will. I don't think Tehran has much choice here but to simply turn a blind eye to Armenia's and Azerbaijan's future actions. Because, as I said the other day, the only way for Tehran to prevent the construction of the Nakhchivan corridor, or the Zangezur corridor, now it's called the Trump route, is to invade southern Armenia. And I don't see that happening, especially given Tehran's weak responses to previous Israeli and American actions. So I think Tehran will simply have to continue implementing its policy of empty threats and red lines. It's very interesting that Tehran in the past warned that Armenia's territorial integrity is its red line, whatever it means. In reality, whenever Russia and Iran talk about red lines, in fact, it's a green light that they give to the West to implement some decisions. So I think that will be the case here as well. I think the route will be constructed and it will go through the Armenian territory. Now it just remains to be seen who will provide security along the route, because according to the 2020 Moscow broker ceasefire deal, it was the Russian FSB. Now, according to some reports, it's supposed to be the American private military companies, but as usual, the devil is in the details, so we just need to see when the document is ratified in both Armenian and Azerbaijan parliaments, and to see who will actually provide security there. But I think it will be the United States, so Washington is the major beneficiary of this deal.
Orkan, what does this Trump route mean for Azerbaijan's economic and political leverage in the region?
First of all, we get access to our exclave, Nakhchivan. So it's it's a big step in the territorial reintegrity of Azerbaijan. We don't just speak about integrity, but it's reintegrity. So all the parts of Azerbaijan will have the same access to each other. So we will not need to go through Iran, through other countries to get access to our main, our exclave. So this is the first and the for Azerbaijan. The secondary, it's economic benefits. It's a trade route. It will have the investment. So Azerbaijan will be one of the main transit countries, and the whole region will become the main transit hub for international trade. So Azerbaijan and as well as the older region will gain its own economical benefits. And the third benefit is as Azerbaijan were saying that we don't need any barriers to go to our exclave, and no any Armenian border controller should control the Azerbaijani citizens and Azerbaijani goods from from mainland to its exclave. So Azerbaijan also gained this right. Yes, there will be some operators, the United States operators, and eventually we live in a digitalized world, and eventually I think that in the future all these routes and the border controls will be digitalized. So we will need to meet face only in an extreme situation. So it opens a new perspectives, new investments, gives the power, gives economic benefits to all the region, and Azerbaijan and all the region win from.
Nicola, where does Turkey fit into this new equation? Is Ankara the biggest potential winner? What do you think about that?
It is one of the biggest potential winners, because, as I said, it will have now direct land route connecting it to Central Asia, where Ankara aims to increase its influence and to effectively crowd Russia out of that region, as it did in the South Caucasus. And also Turkey will increase its economic ties with Azerbaijan, its ally. This route is also very important not only for Turkey and the United States, but also for China. When I spoke with Azerbaijani foreign policy, foreign ministry officials 3 years ago, I believe, I asked them if this route, at the time it was still called the Zangezur Corridor or the Nakhchivan Corridor, if it has the capacity to become a part of the China-led Belt and Road Initiative, they told me that it could be. So I think that was the initial plan, and that's one of the reasons why China supported Azerbaijan during the 2020 war, not officially, but indirectly. And China also hopes to benefit from this route by connecting it to some other corridors in the region, the so-called Middle Corridor. And Turkey, the United States, and potentially China are, in my view, the biggest winners in this game. Of course, Azerbaijan, because it will get the land route to the Nakhchivan autonomous region, but it remains to be seen if it will get the passport-free route, which is something that Baku insists on. But when you read the declaration that Trump and President Aliyev and Prime Minister Pashinyan signed, you don't see that explicitly. So I think that's something that they will have to continue discussing, and I think Western powers and Turkey and Azerbaijan will continue pressuring Armenia to accept that, to allow Azerbaijan to have a passport-free route, basically not to control this section of the Nakhchivan corridor.
So, Orkan, in your opinion, what are the main obstacles that could derail the Trump route plan?
The main obstacles, we can see that Russia can intervene, but intervene not in the military sense. It can intervene in internal politics of Yerevan, and we see that there will be elections in 1 year. And right now, Pashinyan can show this document as a political privilege that he leads a country towards a peace, but it could be also false start in the sense of that in 1 year situation could change, and frozening the conflict in the Ukraine can give the Russia more confidence to intervene in internal politics of Armenia. There's another one. It's Iran. Iran is another main obstacle, that Iran doesn't want this corridor, this route open. The first we could notice that after the 44-day war in 2020, Iran's rhetorics wasn't like we will against this route that will put under the doubt the territorial integrity of Armenia. But now we see that it's not only that Iran supports Armenia. That's why, even if Armenia agrees to opening this route, Iran says that no, we are against this route, and not Iran as an official mullah regime, which is like Al-Akbar Vilayati said. He's an advisor of the Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, and Iran could also by some skirmishes or some attacks can damage this place, but this also is very risky for Iran, because we saw that how Iran damaged in the April skirmishes between Israel, in the April war between Israel and the United States. Also, they put their thumbs on Iran at this in the last day. On the last days, so it's risky for Iran also to intervene. Now we'll see that how it's gonna be in the future. We will. I think that the both sides, Armenia as Azerbaijan, show the intentions towards the peace. This is a peace deal, but it's not a peace treatment. Peace treaty. Peace treaty will be in 1 year, and we hope so. And we will see that how the investments will come. So the first positive signals will be the Armenian side started the construction of this road. If the Armenians started, the first signals if the first news in the upcoming future, we will see that Armenians started tenders, started this geological explorations in this region to start the construction process. It will be the good sign, then all the obstacles will be overcome in the future.
So, Nicola, do you believe this is the start of a long-term strategic realignment in the South Caucasus, or just a temporary diplomatic moment?
No, I think this is the beginning of a new era in the region, because over the past 100 years, the South Caucasus was in Russia's geopolitical orbit, and now it's the United States that will play the dominant role in the South Caucasus. And that's something that Russia allowed to happen, because it did absolutely nothing to maintain both Armenia and Azerbaijan in its sphere of influence. As a result of the 2020 war, Armenia started to turn its back on the Kremlin and to develop closer ties with the West. And now recently, despite the document that Moscow and Baku signed in 2022 on the allied relations, now we see that relations between Azerbaijan and Russia went from bad to worse. So Russia is losing its influence in the region, while Turkey and the United States are benefiting, and that's the outcome of this deal. Also, I think that it is very important to emphasize that the Russian Foreign Ministry welcomed this deal, which is very interesting given that it actually welcomed the fact that Russia is no longer the major actor operating in the South Caucasus. So what's happening in the South Caucasus is the direct result of Russia's weak diplomacy and also the result of Putin's adventure in Ukraine, because that's when both Armenia and Azerbaijan started effectively turning their back on Moscow and developing closer ties, not just with Western countries, but with other actors as well. And now we have this new route that I think it will be constructed sooner or later. And it's not that bad for Russia. It's much worse for Iran, but still the very fact that Russia is no longer the dominant actor there is very painful for the Russian society and its policymakers, because, as I said, over the past 100 years, the region was in Russia's geopolitical orbit, which is not the case anymore. Moscow might be allowed to preserve its bases in Armenia, military bases, although I think it will have to shut them down eventually, because Yerevan has repeatedly stated that it plans to leave the Russian-led Collective Security Treaty Organization, and I think it's a matter of time, especially if Baku and Yerevan strengthen their military cooperation with the United States, which is what they plan to do.
Gentlemen, thank you for your insights. Orkan Nabiev in Baku, Nikola Mikovic in Belgrade. We truly appreciate your time and expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all for this edition of Context. I'm Bakhtiar Sanov, and thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.